Have you ever paused to think about how a single moment of genuine kindness can alter the entire course of a child's life? Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to step into an orphanage, where every smile you spark could mean the difference between loneliness and hope? If these questions stir your curiosity, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Tell us where you're from, whether you're reading from the hustle of a big city or the tranquility of a small town. And don't forget to subscribe or follow, because together we can spread these uplifting stories farther than you might ever imagine. Keanu Reeves had an unshakable belief that a small act of compassion could resonate far beyond its moment in time, setting off ripples that turned into waves of real change. This belief guided him to visit an orphanage located in a modest rural district, an unassuming structure surrounded by uneven patches of farmland. To the casual eye, the building looked aged and worn. Paint peeled from the walls. The courtyard was dotted with only a few weather-beaten toys. And there was a simple wooden door at the entrance through which children scurried in and out with curious glances. Yet, despite its appearance, the place glowed with a subtle warmth whenever laughter spilled through an open window. Keanu Reeves arrived with a collection of items he thought might bring the children joy. Art supplies, books of fairy tales, a simple speaker for playing music, and a heart ready to embrace any child who might need even a small spark of hope. As he stepped through the entrance, he saw a few wide-eyed kids peeking from behind the walls, clearly intrigued by the new visitor. He gave them a gentle wave. Sister Agatha, the head caretaker, soon appeared, a calm smile adorning her time-creased face. She greeted Keanu Reeves and ushered him into a tiny office lined with dusty filing cabinets and a large framed photo of the orphanage's original founders. Amid a flurry of apologies for the orphanage's humble state, she expressed gratitude for his willingness to spend time with the children. Keanu Reeves waved off her apologies, saying it was he who felt grateful for the chance to do something meaningful. He started by unpacking a few boxes in the common playroom: colored pencils, markers, sketch pads, and bundles of balloons. Children hovered nearby, initially shy but undeniably intrigued. With Sister Agatha's encouragement, they formed a small circle, the younger ones inching forward to see what sort of excitement might be in store. Keanu Reeves introduced himself with a friendly grin, assuring them that today was all about fun and storytelling. As soon as the kids realized he had no interest in stern lectures or scolding, their apprehension eased. They giggled, jostling each other to get a better view of the mysterious supplies that would soon invite them into a world of games and wonder. He commenced the day's activities by playing a simple game of Simon Says, adjusted for a small group to ensure everyone could participate. Even the most reserved children found themselves giggling when Simon Says hop on one foot caused a chorus of thumps across the floor. The caretaker staff watched from a distance, smiling at the transformation in the kids' usual routine. After a couple of rounds, Keanu Reeves moved on to blowing up balloons, twisting them into endearing those slightly misshapen animals. He wasn't exactly a professional balloon artist, but his dedication brought enough humor and delight that the children happily cheered for more. A few of the older kids even asked if they could try it themselves, leading to comically shaped rabbits and dogs that drew uncontrollable laughter from the younger ones. With the ice thoroughly broken, Keanu Reeves set up the small speaker he had brought. He queued up cheerful tunes, some well-known children's songs, some soft background melodies, letting the music fill the otherwise quiet hallways. The children clapped and swayed, some bold enough to take center stage with improvised dance moves. This spontaneous concert reminded everyone present that orphans, like all children, harbor a boundless capacity for joy if only they're given the chance to unleash it. Where the staff saw daily struggles, lack of funding, occasional heartbreak from children leaving, Keanu Reeves saw a wealth of potential, a communal beating heart that just needed gentle nudges of encouragement to keep rhythm. Once the kids had burned off some energy, Keanu Reeves announced it was time for stories. He led them to a cozy corner of the playroom, setting out cushions on the floor. The moment he pulled a dog-eared book of fairy tales from his bag, he sensed a wave of excitement. These children, who had faced unimaginable losses, craved a sense of escape, an opportunity to immerse themselves in worlds of castles, dragons, and magical transformations. As he began to read, dramatizing the voices of different characters, he noticed their wide eyes and parted lips. Some children smiled quietly. Others broke into laughter at the more humorous parts, and a few clung to one another during tense sections, as if bracing themselves against dragons only they could see in the corners of their imagination. Partway through the story, Keanu Reeves cleverly paused. He asked the children, "If you could be any character in this tale, who would you be and why?" A small boy named Tomas raised his hand. In a soft voice, he said he would choose the dragon because it might feel powerful to have enormous wings and the ability to protect people he cared about. A girl named Lucia said she would be the princess, but not because she wanted to be rescued. She wanted to be the one who created potions to cure sadness around the kingdom. Hearing these answers, Keanu Reeves realized how deeply the children yearned for a sense of agency. Their circumstances might rob them of control over many aspects of life, but stories allowed them to envision a reality in which they possessed mighty wings or brewed miraculous potions. Encouraging this creativity, Keanu Reeves transitioned into a mini workshop, asking each child to draw a character or scene from the story, or from their own imaginations, that made them feel hopeful. The staff helped distribute coloring materials, and soon crayons and pencils scratched busily against the pages. Laughter rose from different corners as children showcased flamboyantly winged dragons, princesses sporting suits of armor, and knights who looked like clowns on horseback. For a glorious hour, the orphanage's worn walls reverberated with chatter, squeals, and unfiltered imagination. It was the sort of vivid energy that once seemed unattainable for these children, but which now burst forth as naturally as sunshine breaking through clouds. By midday, Sister Agatha approached Keanu Reeves with a request. Might he share a simple lunch with everyone? She explained that communal meals were an integral part of the orphanage's routine. No matter how modest the meal might be, everyone gathered around a long, battered wooden table in the main dining hall, reinforcing a sense of belonging. Keanu Reeves agreed wholeheartedly, following the children as they filed into the dining area. Bowls of warm soup were served, accompanied by small portions of rice. It wasn't lavish by any standard, but it was hearty and offered with genuine warmth. Keanu Reeves asked a few of the older kids about their favorite pastimes or what they wanted to do when they grew up. One boy wished to become a teacher. Another girl dreamed of opening a bakery, each aspiration becoming more vivid with each gentle prompt Keanu Reeves offered. During lunch, Keanu Reeves couldn't help but notice the tight-knit bonds that had formed among the children. They passed bowls to younger ones, shared spoons if they noticed someone missing one, and teased each other in a sibling-like manner. This sense of community, he realized, was a testament to how these children had learned to rely on each other in a world that had often overlooked them. He felt an even stronger desire to do more, bring more supplies, organize more storytelling sessions, maybe even coordinate with volunteers who could teach them new skills. If a single morning could bring such visible joy, what might be possible over weeks or months of consistent support? When lunch concluded, Keanu Reeves guided the children outside for more activities. A humble courtyard extended beyond the dining hall, scattered with patches of overgrown grass and a lone swing set that creaked with every shift and weight. Keanu Reeves placed a few makeshift obstacle courses around the yard, colorful cones borrowed from the orphanage storeroom, a skipping rope, and chalk lines marking where to hop or race. The children lined up, buzzing with anticipation. He announced that they'd do a mini tournament of fun challenges, jumping in sacks, balancing a small beanbag on the head while walking a chalk line, even a playful game of tag. The courtyard erupted into a flurry of bright motion. Children hopped, skipped, and ran, some occasionally tumbling into each other, but always picking themselves up with unstoppable grins on their faces. Sister Agatha, leaning against a wall with her arms folded. Watch the children squeal and chase each other. Keanu Reeves noticed a sheen of tears in her eyes, and when he gently asked if everything was all right, she simply said, "I haven't seen them laugh like this in months. You're making them believe in joy again, and that is a gift we desperately needed." Her words spurred Keanu Reeves to dive even deeper into the day's events, conjuring more game ideas on the spot, encouraging the shyest kids to join in. One such child was Marta, a 7-year-old who had arrived at the orphanage only a couple of weeks ago, traumatized and quiet. Coaxing her out of her shell took patience, but eventually she joined a beanbag balance race, carefully taking step after step while glancing at Keanu Reeves for reassurance. She made it halfway before the beanbag dropped. Instead of pouting, though, she beamed when Keanu Reeves applauded her effort. That small moment of self-confidence shimmered in her eyes, and Sister Agatha saw it too, mentally filing it away as a sign of this child's healing. After the outdoor games, the children were more than ready for a short break. Keanu Reeves used that lull to chat privately with Sister Agatha about the orphanage's current needs. She explained that while donations for food and clothing did arrive occasionally, they lacked recreational materials, educational support, and consistent volunteers. The staff did what they could, but they were overworked and sometimes overwhelmed. Keanu Reeves felt a surge of determination. He asked for permission to visit regularly, maybe once a week, bringing along not just art supplies, but perhaps his friends who could teach reading, basic math, or share different life skills. Sister Agatha welcomed the idea with heartfelt relief. She shared that the children thrived on fresh faces and fresh perspectives. Any positive, stable presence made a lasting difference in their outlook on life. As the afternoon progressed, Keanu Reeves made good on his promise of more stories. This time, he asked the children to help him create a brand new fairy tale. He started off with a classic line, "Once upon a time, in a land far away," then paused, opening the floor for suggestions. One child declared that there should be a hidden castle made of candy. Another said there should be a gentle giant who guarded a rainbow bridge. Someone else suggested the main character be a boy who traveled with a talking bird that could sing healing songs. In a glorious mishmash of imagination, they wove an impromptu narrative that sparkled with whimsy and perhaps subtle echoes of their own yearnings for protection, love, and a stable home. As the tale took shape, each child felt heard. Their ideas validated in a shared creative tapestry, when their story ended in a triumphant flourish. And so, united by friendship, they lived happily ever after in a land where nobody felt alone. Keanu Reeves noticed how many children wore thoughtful expressions, even without saying it outright. They recognized the parallels between that magical kingdom and their current reality. The sense of unity and belonging in their fictional world mirrored the tight-knit, protective bonds they had formed in the orphanage. A few of the older children gave each other knowing smiles, acknowledging their sense of safety in one another, despite life's harsh setbacks. Before departing that evening, Keanu Reeves and Sister Agatha arranged a small concluding circle in the playroom. He thanked the children for sharing their day with him, for being open to games and stories, and for reminding him of how boundless the human spirit could be. One by one, the children thanked him back, some with words, others with brief hugs or shy smiles. The final gift he gave them was a pile of leftover art materials so they could keep drawing whenever they liked. He promised he'd return soon, with more stories, new games, and hopefully more volunteers to join the fun. As he walked away from the orphanage, the late afternoon sun bathed everything in golden light. Keanu Reeves felt a mixture of exhilaration and gentle sadness. He was deeply moved by the children's resilience, but also keenly aware of the challenges they faced daily. He decided then and there that his involvement wouldn't be a one-off experience. The children deserved more than a fleeting visitor who sparked joy for a few hours and then vanished. They deserved consistent mentorship and the kind of support that could help them unlock their full potential. When Keanu Reeves returned the following week, Sister Agatha noted that word of his previous visit had spread among the children like wildfire. They had asked repeatedly when the storyteller would be back. True to his word, Keanu Reeves brought a few friends: Ramona, a community volunteer skilled at face painting and crafts, and Jorge, a budding musician who offered to teach the children simple songs. Their arrival instantly rejuvenated the orphanage's corridors. Staff members who were initially busy with chores poked their heads in to see what all the excitement was about. Ramona's face painting station quickly became a lively hub. Wide-eyed children lined up, carefully choosing designs: tigers, butterflies, rainbows, or anything that popped into their imaginations. Younger ones giggled as the paintbrush tickled their cheeks. The older kids, initially trying to act cool, ended up with elaborate designs anyway: lightning bolts, floral patterns, or swirling galaxy themes that stretched across their foreheads. Ramona, in her element, chatted easily with each child, inquiring about their favorite colors or animals. She soon realized these interactions were more than just superficial. Sometimes a child would spontaneously share a worry or dream, feeling safe in the comforting activity. Meanwhile, Jorge set up his guitar in the courtyard. He strummed a few chords, attracting curious onlookers who approached in a slow trickle. One particularly curious boy, named Daniel, asked if he could hold the guitar. Jorge showed him how to place his hands, pressing gently on the strings. Though Daniel's initial attempts produced only squeaks and buzzes, his eyes lit up with a quiet determination. Soon, a small crowd formed around them, each child wanting a turn to pluck at the strings. Jorge played a simple melody, a lullaby tune with gentle notes, and invited the kids to sing along if they wanted. Though many felt shy, a handful mustered the courage to join in with voices both timid and proud. It was a testament to how music can dissolve barriers, letting children explore an outlet for self-expression they rarely encountered. Keanu Reeves, meanwhile, roved between these stations with a camera, capturing laughter and stolen glances of wonder. He snapped pictures of children discovering new sides of themselves: Mia, who realized she could sing in tune, or Rico, who found out he loved painting spiderweb designs on his face. Amid these creative flurries, Sister Agatha pulled Keanu Reeves aside to mention that a few older teens have been struggling academically, especially in subjects like math and reading comprehension. Due to limited staffing, personalized tutoring was nearly impossible. Keanu Reeves nodded, promising to see if he could enlist some volunteer tutors. He recognized that while fun and games were crucial, consistent educational support could truly give these kids a leg up. After a couple of hours, the courtyard was awash in color. Face-painted dragons, swirling chalk art, the strum of Jorge's guitar, and the background hum of cheerful conversations. Children proudly displayed their newly painted faces to one another, comparing who had the fiercest tiger stripes or the most elegant butterfly wings. Ramona shifted gears and offered a crafting project: homemade paper crowns and bracelets that the kids could decorate with stickers or glitter. Soon, crowns of construction paper and aluminum foil dotted the yard, turning the orphanage into a makeshift kingdom of bright-eyed royalty. As the day wore on, an unexpected guest arrived, a local teacher named Bianca, who had heard about Keanu Reeves's visits from a friend. Driven by her passion for nurturing young minds, she came armed with flashcards, simple math games, and short storybooks. She had a quiet demeanor but exuded a patient warmth that drew children to her instantly. Sister Agatha introduced her to a few of the older teens who needed extra academic support. By the end of the afternoon, Bianca had arranged a schedule to return weekly, focusing on small group tutoring sessions that would bolster both reading and math skills. This practical addition perfectly complemented Keanu Reeves's more playful approach, weaving a cohesive tapestry of emotional and intellectual growth for the children. Observing all of these interactions, Keanu Reeves felt a surge of hope. The orphanage was slowly transforming into a vibrant community hub rather than a forgotten shelter. He recognized that every volunteer contributed a different strength: art, music, academic help, or simply a listening ear, and the children began thriving under this multifaceted attention. The staff also felt relieved, no longer bearing the responsibility of caring for dozens of children in isolation. The combined efforts of volunteers spread the workload and introduced fresh ideas that reinvigorated the entire orphanage environment. As twilight approached, Keanu Reeves and his friends decided to orchestrate a short talent show to wrap up the day. The children excitedly found seats in the courtyard, forming an eager audience. Some performed spontaneously. A trio of sisters sang a nursery rhyme. A lanky boy did an impersonation of his favorite cartoon character, and a tiny girl proudly displayed her artwork of a rainbow castle. Jorge accompanied them with gentle guitar strums, while Ramona and Keanu Reeves cheered like proud fans in the front row. For many of these kids, it was their first time standing before an audience, showcasing anything about themselves. Their smiles radiated pure elation, like they were stepping into a spotlight they never knew existed. After everyone who wanted to perform had taken the makeshift stage, the staff and volunteers joined in for a final group song, something upbeat and easy to clap along to. The courtyard pulsed with happiness, echoing well beyond the orphanage walls. In that moment, the children got a taste of what it felt like to be celebrated rather than pitted. Keanu Reeves couldn't help but tear up slightly, imagining each child's potential, if only they were continually supported like this. That evening, as the volunteers packed up and said their goodbyes, several children clung to them, reluctant to let the day end. Keanu Reeves knelt down to assure them he'd return soon, that they weren't just fleeting guests. One girl, around 8 years old, asked if he could bring books about princesses and explorers next time. Another boy requested a story about a knight who saves a kingdom from a giant monster. Keanu Reeves chuckled, promising to come armed with new tales, new games, and maybe even a puppet show. A silent acknowledgement that his presence was mending wounds that mere medicine and budgets couldn't touch. Over subsequent months, Keanu Reeves's involvement turned from occasional visits into a structured support system for the orphanage. Through social media, he posted photos and shared anecdotes about the children's creativity and resilience, making sure never to reveal identities in a way that infringed on privacy. People responded with curiosity, empathy, and, eventually, direct offers of help. A local librarian arranged a monthly book drive, sending age-appropriate novels and picture books. A friend who managed a small dance studio volunteered to teach basic dance steps every other weekend. A retired seamstress offered sewing lessons to older kids, which led to them stitching simple pillowcases and even costumes for the next round of imaginative play. Each time new volunteers arrived, the orphanage's once empty corridors buzzed with purposeful activity. Some guests were skilled, like the seamstress or a retired teacher, while others simply showed up ready to hold a hand or read a story. The children's transformations were tangible. A previously timid boy might come out of his shell when he discovered a talent for playing keyboard, or a small group of girls might develop a passion for putting on mini-plays after dabbling in face painting and costume making. In these pockets of engagement, the staff observed an upswing in morale among children of all ages. For Keanu Reeves, each day brought fresh challenges and deeper revelations. One challenge involved building trust with teenagers who had grown skeptical of adults. These older kids had experienced false promises, or in some cases, watchers from social services telling them one thing but delivering another. To reach them, Keanu Reeves adopted a patient approach. He invited them to help organize the younger kids' games, to give input on what activities might be fun, or to serve as assistants for story time. Slowly, they began to realize he wasn't just a passing do-gooder. His consistent presence, listening to their music recommendations, discussing their academic worries, or simply hanging out, proved that some adults could be counted on. That genuine empathy wasn't a myth. Another challenge surfaced when the orphanage faced a sudden plumbing issue in its dormitory wing, creating a scramble to fix broken pipes before they caused unsanitary conditions. Learning about this crisis, Keanu Reeves rallied a small group of local volunteers adept at basic home repairs. They pooled resources, purchased the necessary materials, and spent a weekend repairing the plumbing. The children watched in fascination as pipes were replaced and leaks sealed. As a token of gratitude, they drew big "thank you" posters, plastering them around the courtyard and dining hall. The sense of relief among the staff was profound. What might have escalated into a devastating situation was resolved quickly, thanks to a network of caring individuals who refused to let the orphanage shoulder the burden alone. Keanu Reeves also discovered that not every child was drawn to group activities or flamboyant displays of art or music. Some simply craved quiet companionship. A boy named Steven preferred to sit in a corner and build small structures out of whatever blocks or boxes he could find. Whenever Keanu Reeves approached, Steven would show him his latest invention, a makeshift tower or bridge. Over time, Steven opened up about his love for architecture and mechanical design, an unlikely passion for a child who had never known the stability of a true home. Sensing potential, Keanu Reeves introduced Steven to simple engineering puzzles, printable from the internet, which the orphanage staff then made readily available. Delighted, Steven spent hours poring over these puzzles, occasionally enlisting other children to test the stability of his cardboard contraptions. This seemingly small gesture broadened Steven's horizons, planting the seed that he, too, had a valuable skill to nurture. Among the many initiatives, one of Keanu Reeves's favorite ventures was the library corner they established in a formerly unused hallway. Bianca, the teacher who had visited earlier, helped categorize donated books by reading level. Volunteers hammered together basic shelves, painting them in bright colors that caught the children's eyes. Several kids, enthralled by this new reading nook, began dropping by after lunch or before bedtime, flipping through picture books or short stories. Over time, a sense of pride emerged. Certain children would adopt a shelf, making sure the books stayed tidy and inviting. The older teens would sometimes read aloud to the younger ones, bridging age gaps in a shared appreciation for adventure tales, fables, or even illustrated encyclopedias about the animal kingdom. Meanwhile, with each passing week, the children's bond with Keanu Reeves grew deeper. They started to see him not as a fleeting entertainer, but as a genuine mentor. They would greet him with squeals of excitement, pulling on his shirt to show him their latest drawings or to recount a small triumph, like finishing a tough homework assignment or helping a friend with chores. Sister Agatha often remarked that the emotional climate at the orphanage had shifted. While the daily challenges remained, financial strains, administrative hurdles with government agencies, occasional heartbreak when a child was moved to another facility, there was now a strong current of optimism. This positivity proved infectious, extending from the staff to volunteers, and from volunteers back to the children. Periodically, the orphanage's reality still dealt harsh blows. A prospective adoptive family might fail to show up for a promised visit, or a child might fall ill with limited medical options available. On these occasions, the staff banded together with volunteers like Keanu Reeves, calling upon the broader community for aid or compassion. A local doctor began offering free monthly checkups, ensuring early detection of any health issues. An older couple who had raised 4 children of their own stepped in to celebrate birthdays with extra snacks or small gifts. In this network of empathy, adversity never entirely vanished, but it became more bearable under the collective will to see these kids flourish. One shining example of resilience was Carmen, a timid 13-year-old who found solace in writing. After discovering the library corner, she began scribbling short poems and stories in an old notebook. At first, she was hesitant to share her writing, but as she saw other children proudly displaying their drawings and crafts, she mustered enough courage to show Keanu Reeves a piece about a lonely tree dreaming of a forest. Struck by her poetic imagery, He encouraged her to keep writing and even offered gentle feedback on grammar and phrasing. With each new poem, Carmen's confidence soared. She started showing her work to Bianca, who urged her to read one aloud during a small group activity. Although she trembled with nerves, Carmen managed to deliver each line, voice quivering but eyes shining. The applause she received was genuine and heartfelt, further fueling her ambition to become an author someday. Time wore on, and as the orphanage's reputation for positivity spread, more visitors trickled in, some drawn by curiosity, others by a genuine desire to help. The institution gradually transformed from a neglected corner of the district into a modest but shining example of what community-backed care could achieve. The children, for their part, blossomed in an environment that now regularly exposed them to different creative outlets, from puppet shows to cooking lessons. While nobody was naive enough to believe, all troubles vanished. Everyone recognized that the foundation of hope had solidified to an extraordinary degree. On one particularly memorable day, Keanu Reeves arrived with a plan to stage a mini-festival. With permission from the staff and some local sponsors, he set up booths offering simple carnival-style games, ring toss, beanbag throws, and a station for temporary tattoos. A local bakery donated cupcakes, a florist provided bouquets to decorate the courtyard, and volunteers organized a short play performed by the children themselves. Titled The Journey of the Lost Star, the play told the story of a star that fell from the sky and learned the value of friendship while trying to find its way back home. Children wore costumes cobbled together from donated fabric, their lines interspersed with stumbles and giggles, making the performance both endearing and earnest. The laughter and applause that day were so resounding, it was as if the orphanage's walls shimmered with new life. Parents who had come to consider adoption soaked in the positive atmosphere, some commenting that they'd never realized an orphanage could feel so alive. Staff members from other child welfare institutions took notes, asking Keanu Reeves and Sister Agatha how they managed to foster such an uplifting environment. Keanu Reeves emphasized the value of consistent care, frequent engagement, and unwavering love, reminding everyone that it wasn't about grand gestures but rather about small, steady acts of kindness that cumulatively built a nurturing haven. In the days following the mini-festival, the orphanage buzzed with memories of skits, sweets, and shining star costumes. Even children who didn't typically mingle ended up discussing their roles or complimenting each other's stage presence. Sister Agatha, in a quiet conversation with Keanu Reeves, reflected that the orphanage had not only offered children a roof over their heads, but had now evolved into a place where talents could be discovered and friendships could flourish. "What you've helped us find," she told him, "is the spark that lights up each child's face when they realize they matter." Keanu Reeves, though touched by her words, insisted that he was merely a catalyst. He pointed to the staff, the volunteers, and especially the children themselves as the real heroes. Each child's willingness to dream, despite losses, abandonment, or fear, showed extraordinary courage. They yearned for acceptance, and whenever they found it, they reciprocated with gratitude, creativity, and a zest for life that moved every adult who witnessed it. Slowly but surely, a cycle of hope established itself within those walls. A child lacking self-esteem would be paired with an activity or mentor who fueled their budding confidence. That child, in turn, would encourage a friend to try something new, carrying forward the message that everyone has worth. As these positive cycles repeated, even the staff experienced renewed vigor, far from the exhausted caretakers they'd once been. Overwhelmed by financial woes, they now had reason to believe in a future where each child had a genuine shot at happiness and success. Carmen's writing flourished. She began drafting a small poetry compilation that Bianca helped type up. Stephen's engineering experiments grew more sophisticated, prompting Keanu Reeves to find more advanced building kits for him. Lucia discovered a passion for singing. With Jorge's coaching, she started performing small solos during group gatherings. Thomas, who once said he wanted to be a dragon to protect those he loved, channeled that protective streak in a helping staff watch over younger kids. Every child, in one way or another, found a channel to express themselves, leading them to adopt roles within the orphanage akin to members of a large, collaborative family. Inevitably, some children found foster or adoptive homes. While such departures could sting for those left behind, they were also moments of celebration. The staff and volunteers would hold going-away parties, simple but heartfelt, to send these children off with well wishes and a sense of belonging. Keanu Reeves always left them with letters, short, encouraging notes they could read whenever they felt uncertain in their new environments. The cycle of arrivals and departures underscored that the orphanage wasn't a permanent home, but it could be a place of healing and growth until better opportunities arose. As the seasons shifted and the orchard behind the orphanage bloomed, it seemed symbolic of the children's own blossoming spirits. Keanu Reeves would walk the grounds at sunset, sometimes amazed at how much had changed since his very first visit. What began as an attempt to share a day of fairy tales and games had evolved into a far-reaching network of support, bridging the gap between a once-forgotten orphanage and the broader community. His personal life also transformed. He found deeper meaning in day-to-day tasks, motivated by the knowledge that the children's eyes lit up each time he arrived. He made new friends among volunteers and staff, forging bonds as strong as those with any family. Even as new issues cropped up, funding shortfalls, repairs needed for the outdated roof, emotional setbacks when a child struggled with personal trauma, the orphanage faced these challenges from a position of newfound resilience. Keanu Reeves, Sister Agatha, and the extended community of helpers had woven a safety net strong enough to catch any child who stumbled. Some nights, when everyone else had gone, Sister Agatha sat quietly in the courtyard, reflecting on how an ordinary person with an extraordinary heart had sparked an entire movement of compassion. That spark, of course, was mirrored in each volunteer and staff member, but also in the children themselves. Every smile, every new skill learned, every comforting pat on a friend's shoulder contributed to an atmosphere thick with hope. By the time Keanu Reeves organized yet another round of story readings, this time with shadow puppets made from cardboard and flashlights, the kids were veterans at co-creating fantastical worlds. They needed little guidance to craft narratives about guardians, magical forests, or kingdoms that rose from adversity. With each tale told, the orphanage's story of transformation echoed in their words, proving that life could indeed be reimagined in more beautiful ways. Months turned to years, and while not every day was as grand as the mini festival or carnival, each was a testament to the quiet power of consistent kindness. Volunteers rotated in and out, new programs started and ended, but the core principle stayed intact. The children would never again be left to languish in solitude. Whenever anxiety flared or supplies ran low, a phone call or social media post summoned a wave of well-meaning individuals willing to lend a hand. The orphanage's story became a local legend of sorts, a place once overshadowed by neglect, now a beacon of community spirit. In the end, sharing smiles with children in need was more than a motto. It was the living essence that guided every person who stepped through those gates. Where there had once been only silence and the echoes of heartbreak, laughter now reigned. Where children once walked with eyes downcast, they now carried themselves with a spark of self-worth. And where staff once felt alone in their daunting tasks, they found a loyal team of supporters eager to champion the orphanage's cause. Perhaps the greatest lesson was that even in the most challenging circumstances, light can break through with just a few acts of kindness and imagination. Fairy tales serve as the first bridge into these children's hearts, but it was the steadfast human connection, week after week, month after month, that built an unshakable foundation of hope. Every drawing pinned to the wall, every sing-along, every academic tutoring session formed another pillar of a stronger future. In those hallways, painted by the children's own hands, the message became clear. Joy does not require opulence. It requires compassion, creativity, and a willingness to believe that every child deserves a chance to shine. Have you ever witnessed how a single story, a single game, or even just a single person's unwavering presence can make a world of difference in a child's life? Please share your experiences in the comments and let us know where you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear about any acts of kindness you've seen or taken part in, whether big or small. And if you haven't yet, remember to hit that subscribe or follow button so that we can continue bringing you these uplifting stories. Together, we can remind the world that hope thrives wherever people choose to nurture it, one smile at a time.